All right, everyone, welcome back to the Land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back, and I'm extremely excited as this one may go down in the Land of Chem Hall of Fame as one of the most important research videos that I have ever produced. This is episode 130, and today I will be explaining not only the geological composition, but also the physics-based mechanisms of operation involved in the function of the Avebury Stone Avenue and the Luxor Sphinx Avenue step-down voltage transformer systems. If this is the type of content you're interested in regarding the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube, and don't forget to click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Please like, comment, share, and stay tuned if you want to help support this channel and get access to exclusive research and unreleased footage that you will not see anywhere else. Check out the Land of Chem members only channel and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our two new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for food reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's intro. So without further ado, let's get right to it. And just a quick reminder, the second 2024 Land of Chem Ancient Alchemy and Ascension Tour is on, and bookings are still available. If you are interested in coming to Egypt to see the pyramids for yourself, including special permission access to the pyramids of Abu Sir and a private special permission entry into all three chambers of the Great Pyramid of Giza at night during this epic adventure experience coming up in early winter later this year, please send me an email to contact@thelandofchem.com with the subject line Egypt Tour 3, and I will send you the full tour itinerary and pricing details. Thank you all so much, and I will see you soon here in the Land of Chem. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode, and buckle your seatbelts, because this is about to be a wild ride. Now, to begin, a critical statement about the behavior of electric current from lightning that was first presented in episode 116, showing proof of lightning strikes at ancient stone circles. Coming from the research paper here, a geophysical investigation of the Neolithic Kalonese landscape, discussing the magnetic signatures from repetitive lightning strikes on the stone circle system at Kalonese, stating here, when lightning hits relatively dry rock surfaces, it does not penetrate downward. Rather, skin currents extend outward along the free surface to a distance proportionate to the current density. So step one in harnessing the immense voltage from a lightning strike involves dissipation of some of that electric current through the bedrock surrounding the structures, as discussed in many previous episodes here on the channel. This is exactly what was happening at Avebury in England and in Luxor, with the Karnak and Luxor temple systems that are connected via the Avenue of Sphinxes that you can see here. So when lightning struck the primary obelisk within the high voltage distributor at Karnak, the current spread and dissipated in all directions through the bedrock surface into various components of the Karnak temple system, into the bedrock, and into the agricultural farmlands surrounding the east bank of the Nile River, which still exist today for reasons as simple as electroculture. and the Sphinx Avenue provided a channel or conduit to direct the electric current flow that was already moving in this direction directly into the Luxor Temple. And the Stone Avenue conduit systems at Avebury in England that you can see here had the exact same function: to channel the electric current from the obelisk and primary Avebury stone circle along the stone conduit system, and with each step between the stones, reducing the voltage that would be distributed into the sanctuary at the head end of the Serpent Temple complex. So now, let's take a look at the West Kennet Stone Avenue conduit system so you can see this component for yourself. And then we'll examine the chemical composition of the geology that makes this system work. All right, everyone, welcome back. And today we will begin our site expedition at the tail end of the West Kennet Avenue, which is where we concluded our site visit of Avebury yesterday in the pouring rain. It's still nice and cloudy out today, but at least the rain is holding off for now and the sun is poking through the clouds up there. So God willing, we'll have a beautiful day exploring these sites, and I am extremely excited about the locations that we will be visiting today. So what you see in front of us is a structure known as West Kennet Avenue. And I'll put in a diagram at the beginning of the video so you can get some orientation and an idea of the layout of this system. Because I do believe that all of these structures are connected. There's Lexa from Ancient Odysseys. And what you can see here is what's known as an avenue of stones. A row of stones on each side of this avenue, pathway, causeway, channel, or conduit. Whichever term you prefer to refer to this series of stones. And the avenue, or rather the conduit, the stone channel, leads from the Avebury Stone Circle Henge, which we visited yesterday, which is over the hill in this direction, toward the structures that we will be exploring today. Namely two sites, well, several sites. We have the sanctuary, an absolutely spectacular structure known as Silbury Hill or Merlin's Mound. And then the West Kennet Long Barrows, along with several other sites that are here in very close proximity to the structure that you can see now. And I will say I get a similar sensation standing out in this causeway and channel conduit of stones that we got yesterday at Avebury. these structures and the knowledge behind their construction is far more complex and sophisticated than we understand. I'm literally walking along one of the Earth's energetic pathways, ley lines that connect all of these sites. And as you can see there, the sun is coming out. And it will be an absolutely gorgeous day out here today. And this morning, as we did yesterday hiking to Windmill Hill, we just parked the car and set off on foot. And that is also the plan for today's site expeditions. And you can see here a beautiful example of the two stones still in place on each side of this stone conduit, channel, avenue, however you'd like to describe it. And so again, this is about eye level here, you know, about 6 feet right there. So these stones are maybe 8 feet tall, at least the above ground portion. But certainly smaller than the ones that we saw at the Avebury Henge. Hey, buddy. And some are bigger, some are smaller. This one's probably 7 feet tall. But they appear to be the same type of stone, which is referred to as sarsen stone, which is that siliceous sandstone, high content silica sandstone. Pretty nice shot over there of the English countryside. And I was saying in the previous site footage that our expedition to Avebury, and that was probably the most impressive site that I've ever visited, with maybe the exception of, you know, our private, Yusuf and I, our private special permission access into the Osiris shaft. Of course, I do believe there are some connections between the story of Osiris and the same civilization that built these structures. And as you will see here in a little bit, there are absolutely connections between the builders of these ancient monuments in England and later in Ireland and the builders of the Egyptian pyramids. And today we will see an absolutely stunning example of what I call a proto-pyramid. Again, one of the intentions of these site expeditions is to investigate the evolution of the structures in Egypt and to trace their origins So this is actually a perfect spot, because I believe that as we cross over this hill, yep, here's a rather large one. This is probably 10 feet tall. You got to remember, these things are probably buried at least 3 or 4 feet in the ground, if not more. And yeah, this is perfect, because these two stones here are the stones where we concluded our expedition from yesterday. And I'm still just blown away and puzzled and shocked, but I guess not really all that shocked that, okay, so this is where we were yesterday. There's the perimeter of the earthen enclosure of Avebury. So there's the earthen enclosure around the outside, a huge ditch, and then the stone circle structure on the inside. And there's a town right literally dead set in the middle of this thing with roads running through it. And so yesterday we crossed across the street here and we walked up this way, and by the time we got in the car yesterday, we were literally soaked from head to toe. And so this is the perfect spot to begin today's expedition. All right, now on to the geology itself and the chemical composition of these stones. First, starting with the Avebury sarsen stones, which, as explained previously, are silicious sandstone with high silica content, but they also have high iron content. These stones display abundant evidence of high temperature heating, as you can see here in this geological analysis of the West Kennet Avenue sarsen stones, examining the surface features of these standing stones. And you can see, as listed here, that many of them display surface flaking or peeling, a feature that we also see in the Central Pyramid Valley Temple in Giza and in many other sites from ancient Egypt, where the surface of the stone is flaking off. And the lead geologist of my colleagues at the ASITA project confirmed that this flaking is due to high temperature heating from the inside out, which would be very consistent for the process that I am about to describe. Many of these stones also have areas of silica glaze or melted silica that has formed a glaze-like substance on the surface of the stone. Again, evidence of high temperature heating of these stones. And last but not least, and actually the most important, the iron. As you can see here, many of these stones have iron staining covering the surface. This isn't to mention what is actually on the inside of these standing stones. But sarsen stone doesn't just have iron on the surface. The entire stone is permeated with iron. As you can see here, in an analysis of the iron content found in the sarsen stones at Stonehenge, the exact same type of high iron and high silica content sandstone that we find in Avebury and across the ancient sites of England. Well, guess what the Sphinx Avenue conduit system in Luxor, Egypt is made from? First, let's take a look at these Sphinx stone statues leading from the Karnak Temple into the Luxor Temple so that you can see them up close for yourself. And then I will show you the definitive research revealing their significant chemical composition. And you can see here at the front of the structure what is known as the Avenue of the Sphinx. And you can see all of these little statues here are Sphinx statues flanking the entrance into the Luxor Temple. All right. So now, without further ado, Yalla bina. And our guide here was just providing us with some pretty interesting information about that red granite obelisk, which will be particularly relevant to our upcoming discussion on the potential function of this site. So conventionally speaking, this is definitely dynastic temple building work. Smaller blocks of sandstone structure is attributed to Amenhotep III, Tutankhamun, and then later Ramses II. However, there are some indications that they're much older areas of the site, as of course with all of ancient Egypt, where they were repurposing older structures and building on top of them. So that the main intent for today's investigation here at the Luxor Temple is to determine if we can find evidence of older construction here at the site upon which this temple was later constructed. So here you can see some of these sphinxes. And this avenue that goes all the way down here, 3.5 kilometers, connecting the Luxor Temple and Karnak temples. And I will say it is absolutely beautiful out here. Probably here in perfect time to watch the sunset on the bank of the Nile River. Of course, I have my wife Alexa from Ancient Odysseys with me as always. Not too shabby. All right, now that you have seen these components for yourself, what are they made from? They are not reconstituted limestone, but rather Nubian sandstone embedded with iron. Coming from this article here, discussing conservation methods and materials that can be used for the preservation of this Sphinx conduit system. And as stated here, samples of the sandstone were taken from one of the statues on the Sphinx's Avenue to determine their components and current status by X-ray diffraction analysis, XRD, scanning electron microscopy examination, SEM, and EDAX elemental analysis. So we have conclusive evidence of not only the geological composition, but also the exact quarry site where these natural stones were extracted. As stated here, the road indicating the line of sphinxes leading from the Karnak Temple to the Luxor Temple was built entirely of Nubian sandstone, which was brought from the quarries of Jabal al-Silsila and Masaid, and the same types of stones from which the Luxor Temple and Karnak temples were built. The Jabal al-Silsila quarry is a series of mountains consisting mainly of Nubian sandstone, which extends on both banks of the Nile River for an estimated distance of about 800 kilometers and is located 30 kilometers north of Aswan between Edfu and Kum Umbo. Furthermore, and more importantly, the Nubian sandstone contains various hard iron nodules, shells, and fossils, and the stone's mineral composition includes micaceous minerals. The stone is named, in this case, micaceous sandstone. Besides the micaceous minerals, there are gypsum crystals and pyrite crystals, which are considered the cement material for the quartz crystal, the main mineral of sandstone, silicon dioxide. Any of this sound familiar? Now let me repeat that one more time to drive this point home. The Nubian sandstone contains hard iron nodules, pyrite crystals, and silicon dioxide. So these stones have an extremely similar composition to the sarsen stones at Avebury, being composed of high content silica sandstone, which I have discussed in numerous previous episodes, is an exceptional dielectric material. One more note here about pyrite. Pyrite is a semiconductor, that is, it is neither a conductor like metal nor an insulator like most rocks. Semiconductors such as pyrite can switch between being a good conductor or insulator under the effects of electric fields. In other words, a small amount of energy will switch pyrite from behaving like an insulator to behaving like a conductor. So this Nubian sandstone is embedded with iron metal. So we not only have a dielectric material, but we also have electrical conductors with the capacity for sustaining a magnetic field, which brings me to the next important concept and definition: electromagnetic induction, as explained here. Electromagnetic induction was discovered by Michael Faraday, and James Maxwell mathematically described it as Faraday's law of induction. As stated here, electromagnetic induction is a current produced because of voltage production due to a changing magnetic field. This either happens when a conductor is placed in a moving magnetic field or magnetic flux, or when a conductor is constantly moving in a stationary magnetic field. Now, some of you that have been really paying attention may remember this diagram here, as presented back in episode 103 from Charles Proteus Steinmetz, showing the radiating magnetic field or magnetic flux here in the concentric circles, and the dielectric field or flux emanating from the central conductor here in the radial straight lines. So remember this flux and field diagram. And just one more important thing before we proceed with the business at hand. Air is also a dielectric material with the capacity for transmitting electric current under the right circumstances. Boom. In this excerpt regarding dielectric breakdown, and I will repeat this part here. The permittivity of an ideal dielectric is independent of the magnitude of the applied electric field. The material is said to be linear. However, all practical dielectrics fail in this respect with sufficiently strong electric field. Typically, the failure is abrupt and is observed as a sudden, dramatic increase in conductivity, signaling that the electrons are being successfully dislodged from their host molecules. The threshold value of the electric field intensity at which this occurs is known as the dielectric strength, and the sudden change in behavior observed in the presence of an electric field greater than this threshold value is known as dielectric breakdown, as explained in the previous episode. Most importantly, down here, dielectric breakdown is typically accompanied by arcing, which is a sudden flow of current associated with the breakdown. A well-known example of this phenomenon is lightning, which occurs when charge is exchanged between sky and ground when the air, a dielectric, exhibits breakdown. So if the electric field in the air is too high, the air itself will become a conductor that can transmit electric current. You should already be putting the pieces of this brilliant ancient puzzle together, as we already know that the dielectric silica-based stones closest to the high voltage distributor at the Karnak Temple will experience dielectric breakdown, exceeding their voltage storage capacity and becoming conductors. But they are also embedded with iron, which increases their conductivity with the additional capacity of producing a magnetic field. And the air surrounding these Sphinx statues can also transmit electric current when the electric field is high enough. So, how does the Sphinx Avenue stone conduit system work to reduce the voltage as the electric current travels down the channel? In today's modern step-down transformers, the electric current is supplied by an alternating current source. However, lightning is not alternating current. It is an instantaneous, direct current electrostatic discharge, where the current only flows in one direction for a very short time. But the principles of physics involved in the function of this system are still the same, specifically regarding mutual induction between these iron metal permeated sphinxes or the Avebury Avenue stones, which allows for electrical energy to be transferred between two objects. The direct current through the first transformer generates an electric and magnetic field flux surrounding it. The transformers are precisely spaced so that this electric field will exceed the dielectric capacity of the air, allowing the current to arc to the next transformer. The meticulously engineered space between the sphinxes also allows the induction of these same fields within the second transformer. This is due to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, but some of the voltage will be dissipated through the air during this field transfer, thus reducing the immense voltage from the initial lightning strike as the current is passed through each Sphinx or Avebury Avenue step-down transformer. So now, let's see this in action. The direct electric current flows into the first transformer, creating dielectric and magnetic flux from the strong electric field emanating from the iron-permeated stone. This strong electric field creates dielectric breakdown in the air, and the current will arc to the next transformer. The same process will occur again, but this time with less voltage than the initial current. The radiating dielectric field will again cause dielectric breakdown in the air, producing another current arc, but once again with less voltage than the previous. passing the current step by step down the line of voltage reduction transformers until it reaches the Luxor temple, with the precise amount of storable voltage that is within the dielectric capacity of the materials within this temple. So now, let me run it back one more time so you can see the system in operation. But one thing to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, is that this entire process would happen almost instantaneously in the blink of an eye, sending the immense voltage from the Karnak temple down the line of Sphinx step-down transformers directly into the Luxor temple. And this is exactly what was happening at the even more ancient system within the Avebury Serpent Temple complex, the predecessor of the Karnak Luxor Temple network. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, mic drop. All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was episode 130, the Luxor Sphinx Avenue step-down voltage transformer system. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in this week's Sunday site visit, we return to the Giza Plateau to investigate the reaction chambers of the final pyramid. This is an episode you do not want to miss, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube if you're interested in the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world. If you want to help support the channel, check out the Land of Chem members-only channel, link in the video description below, and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our 2 new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for Food Reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's episode. So I will see you next time. Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.